Hey, what's up guys? Drew here over at RevHiker Outdoors, and today I've got a review on the Thrunite Neutron 2C. This thing has a couple tricks up its sleeve, so stick around to find out more. Alright guys, so here is the Thrunite. This is the box that it came in, and let me just go through this stuff real quick. This is what you get inside the box. This is a little pouch. Little Velcro belt pouch, D-ring, plus a belt loop. You know, good retention, obviously. Velcro is decently strong. It's not like the best on the earth, but certainly something where you're not going to lose the flashlight, because when it's in here, it does fit. There's a little bit of retention in here. All right. If you don't like that, there is belt clip on here, which is, pocket clip, which is more than functional. And if you still want a little extra security, you can put the lanyard on there. Also in here comes a couple extra covers for the USB port. This is rechargeable, and the USB port is on the outside. It uses a micro USB, so unless you're an Apple person where you have a different charger, if you have Android or anything like that, a lot of other devices use the micro USB, so pretty common, and they give you extra covers. With this, it is waterproof down to, what is it, IPX? I don't know, I think it's a half hour at 3 feet, if I remember correctly. So anyway, let's get on to some more of the specs in this thing. This light is pretty cool, and it runs off an 18650 battery. And on that 18650, it will do 1100 lumens on turbo, which is a double click, and on regular high it will do 650. On low, all the way dim, which it'll do in a second here, this is 12 lumens. And the way to adjust this is you just press and hold the button and watch it get brighter and brighter. Okay, and it'll go all the way up till it stops, and it'll blink when it tells you it's up at 650. You give it a double tap, and now it's at 1100 lumens. Okay, so this is kind of neat because it's infinitely adjustable. You press and hold, and it'll get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer all the way down to 12 lumens. Also, if you press and hold while it's off, you get the little firefly mode, which is like half of a lumen or something like that, barely visible. Anyway, I really like this light. I think it's pretty cool in this configuration, but the cool thing is that you don't need an 18650 battery for this. This is kind of big, especially for EDC, so if you want something smaller, you can get something smaller. Normally you just unscrew this and just the battery's in here, but with a couple other Thrunites that I've tested, this one is similar in that it's two pieces here. So if I wanted, I could toss in a little CR123A battery and screw this back together, and voila, it works because it has roughly the same voltage. This thing has a working voltage of like 2.7 up to like 9.3 or something like that, so any of the batteries in that range that'll fit in this will run it. So if you want, you can run it in a much smaller configuration, and this is actually how I like to EDC it, because you still get a ton of power. I don't know the exact figures on how much power it has, because you know they just cite it for the battery that it comes with, but I didn't really see much of a difference at all. I'm sure the runtimes are going to be less, you know, just because this battery holds so much more. But I just really thought that it was cool that you can convert this light to work on two different batteries. And the other thing is if you have this in it and it dies, and you've got another light that has a CR123, it's almost like a backup battery. Or if you wanted to carry a 123 as a small backup, you could totally do that. And this thing will easily run on them both. Now, I did mention run times for a moment, and I want to bring that back up because this Thrunite is a little bit different than some other lights that you might be used to. I like O-lights. I have several O-lights. I've used O-lights, and they're cool, but when you put them on the turbo modes, they'll only run for a short time before they step themselves down. Like, they'll run on their highest level for a couple minutes, usually 2 or 3, and then it'll step down to a lower level to protect this from getting too hot. On the Thrunite, they don't do that. They'll let you just have at it and blast this thing if you want to. So on turbo, on 1100 lumens, you can run this thing for 2.2 hours, as long as the battery will hold on a full charge, and they will not, you know, thermally protect it, which is kind of cool. I like the fact that they don't kind of rope you in. I understand that the other companies are just trying to, like, save themselves from having to replace a product when you burn it out for your own stupidity of leaving it on too long to where it's so hot that you can't touch it. But I kind of like that Thrunite gives you the freedom to just do whatever you need. If you really need that extra power, you know, for 5 or 10 minutes or however long, this thing will let you do it. I don't necessarily recommend it, but you can do it. If you leave it on the 650 lumens, the highest, it's 2.7 hours. And if you're on the lowest, which is 12 lumens, you get 130 hours, and Firefly gets 49 days. So that, and, you know, anything in between, obviously they can't give you a list because it's infinitely adjustable. But if you don't even use turbo, you just use the 650 and the 12, you'll get anywhere from roughly 3 hours all the way to, excuse me, 130 hours, depending on how bright. So definitely a good runtime, and I just like the fact that they don't make you step down. One other thing that I wanted to say about this that's a little bit surprising is this thing has roughly the same throw as this gigantic light, which uses 4 18650s. This is a very focused beam on here, okay? Now, when you shine it, there's like a very intense spot in the middle, and then there is, like, you know, a halo around it. As a matter of fact, let me, I'm going to show you on the ceiling, so let me adjust the camera. All right, guys, so in a minute, if you can't already see, you'll see some of the problems in the sheetrock in my ceiling from the previous owner of my house. Anyway, this is the beam on the Neutron. Now you can see in the center, there's a very, let me hold this up a little bit, there's a very well-defined spotlight, okay, and it is very tight. But then on the outside, there's, you know, not nearly as bright, but there is like a halo. I'm going to dim this down so you can see a little better. There's like a halo of light. So it's definitely not a floodlight, it's a spotlight, but it's not so tight that, you know, the way they made this reflector, there is stuff on the outside, which is kind of nice. Excuse me, that was it reaching full potential. So you can see that this is definitely a spotlight. To give you a little bit of contrast, let me turn on this O light, which is 12,000 lumens, okay? And let me turn this on. Okay, okay, now this is how the O light's pattern is. You can see it's much more of a floodlight. So you've got this on one side, and you've got this on the other. You know, this is only at a distance of maybe, you know, 4 feet to the ceiling. So you can see there's a huge difference in, you know, the Thrunite and the O-light, the floodlight and the spotlight. Now it's even more visible when, you know, to the human eye. The cameras, they can only do so well, but this is quite focused, and this thing at night will throw a beam seriously far, especially for the size. I mean, you're thinking of something, you know, in a package this size, it really does throw some serious light. One thing you can see here is this little light on your switch, and that's kind of nice. It just lets you, it's an indicator light. If your battery's getting low, it will be red, and when it's near dead, it'll flash red. So it kind of lets you know when it's blue, everything is good. And I believe if it's getting too hot, it will also flash red to let you know that you need to shut it down. Well, there you have it, guys. That's kind of my overview of the Thrunite Neutron 2C. I have been EDCing this quite a bit. If you've been on my, excuse me, my Instagram, you've probably seen some pictures of it. I really do like this light. It's not particularly cheap. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's $50, okay? So there's definitely some $20 lights out there that are going to be easier on the wallet. They're not going to have this kind of performance, and they're probably not going to be the waterproof and have the pretty good warranty that Thrunite does. I had an issue with a Thrunite one time out of many lights that I've had, and they were very good about replacing, and I didn't have any trouble. They get back to you pretty promptly. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned, because in the coming weeks, I'm going to be, well, I'll say coming months, because I've got a lot coming up pretty soon here, but in the next couple months, I'm going to be doing a giveaway, and a light or two might find their way into the giveaway. Maybe not this one, but some others. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. God bless you guys as always, and I will catch you